is so irrelevant to my life here in the modern Western world. And that's actually the issue that he's dealing with. Like what was just read to us is in the middle of this bigger conversation going on. And no, obviously the application for us is not what to do with food offered to idols. That is not super relevant to our daily lives here in Victoria, BC. But the way he deals with it really speaks to broader things in our lives. And when we jump into these epistles like we're doing in our readings right now, if you're not following along, you can get a reading plan in the foyer, and it's just a chapter a day, 5 days a week, and we follow along and learn together. But when you're reading an epistle, a letter written by one of the apostles to some portion of the church, it's kind of like jumping in on overhearing one side of a phone call, right? And if that were, when you're having that, you actually, hear something somebody's saying, but you're not sure what the person on the other side is saying, and you can sort of piece it together by what you do get to hear, and that's what reading these letters is like, the epistles. And if that is true anywhere, it's really true in this book, 1 Corinthians. The first letter to the Corinthians. And you have all these moments where Paul says, like, now about this, and now about that, and now about this. And he's speaking into all of these issues he's aware of, or questions that are being asked to him, possibly in other letters or messengers. But this whole thing that was read to us, like I say, is in the middle of this bigger conversation that opens up in verse 1 of chapter 8, where he says, now about food offered to idols, right? And then he goes on, and all the way after, verse 1 of chapter 8 is now about food sacrificed to idols. We know that we all possess knowledge, but knowledge puffs up while love builds up. And this idea about love building up is sort of the principle that he works out throughout the whole thing. And then it ends in, near the end of chapter 10, we have this like famous verse where he says, so whether you eat or drink, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. And I guess what I'm wanting us to catch this morning is that the way he handles this issue really speaks into our lives and how we handle other issues, okay? And so first off, this will come back to what Jacob read, just so you know. Here in first part of chapter 8, right, he's talking about this issue. What do we do? We're in this city, all this food is being offered to idols, and how do Christians handle this?